Good morning or evening. There's a lot of misinformation going out there about how to build Baal best. So we're going over how to actually build a Baal best today. We're going to dispel some of those rumors out there in the whole various areas of the internet. We're going to arm you with the information of how to build this character in the correct way.
If you guys are playing War of the Visions or Brave Exvius and you're not using the Amazon App Store version of the game, there's no reason not to, especially if you're making in-app purchases, because the App Store and Amazon coins are going to save you up to 20%. We're sponsored by Amazon in the App Store today. You can save up to 20%, especially if you use my special promo code down below. I'll have it linked in the description of every video for you guys, and it's not that hard to swap over. You simply need to go into your menu in your settings for either FFBE or War of the Visions. Make sure that your accounts are synced to the account email of your choice.
And now is the perfect time to pick up and try War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, as everyone's favorite Final Fantasy VII characters are here. We have Cloud and Tifa, and Tifa's a monster-free character, my personal favorite out of the four, and soon to be Barrett, Wallace himself, and Aerith.
If you're buying anything in-app, there's no reason not to save up to 20% on your valuable real-world money. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you once again for that sponsorship, and let's get into the content.
Now, the first rumor that we need to dispel is a big one, and we're going to do that right after we show you the best artifact set for her, because this is a build guide video. There's one set you guys need to be running. It's the Emblem of Severed Fate set. If there's a character that was made to wear this set outside of maybe Mona, right? There's a couple of them, but Baal is going to wear this set. It's her best set. It's going to give you a little bit of energy recharge. She likes that stat a lot. It's going to help her fill up your teammates' energy gauge. On top of that, she's going to get some extra bonuses to her electro damage based on her energy recharge, which is going to be something that we're going to be talking about because everyone wants to run her at like 400% ER. Don't do that. Please don't. And on top of that, it's going to give you elemental burst damage, which is a big thing for Baal because it's not going to just increase that first hit she does. It's going to increase everything that she's doing for the 7 seconds. And here's the first big thing we're going to kind of get rid of here. The whole, you always need to run an attack percent goblet on your character. This is not true. If you like what you see, hit that subscription button, come back, turn the notification bell on, join the family, come hit the Discord up. All this stuff is always accessible for you there. I'm chilling all the time, but it's true in a lot of cases. So if you're using your Baal with some sort of attack buff character, so we're talking about Kujo, Sara, and Bennett. If you're using Baal with Kujo, Sara, or Bennett, you're going to want to use a electro damage goblet at all times. You are going to get some electro damage from running ER, but because you're running an attack buffer that's give you 600, 700, 800, 900 attack in some circumstances, then you're going to want to balance the scales back between how much attack you have and how much electro damage / elemental burst damage, all of those damage ups. It's going to do more for you that way. We're going to be showing you guys the math behind this afterwards. Now, there's one other thing we need to talk about as well, which is the sands. A lot of the information going around on the internet is you always wear energy recharge sands on Baal. This is incorrect. If you want to do the most damage, there's only one weapon in the entirety of Genshin Impact that does more damage with an energy recharge sands, and that's going to be the new 5-star weapon, the Engulfing Lightning. Now, the reason you might want to run this one anyways, though, is because if you're using her as a battery first, you're going to want to do this and run the ER one, because the more ER you have, the more easily you are able to give everyone else on your team bonus energy during your elemental burst. However, if the only thing you care about is doing more damage, an attack percent sands is what you want to run, unless, like I said before, you are running someone like Bennett or someone like Kujo Sara. So if you are running someone like Bennett or Kujo Sara in your Baal team, you're going to be using an ER sands and an electro damage goblet. If you're not running either of those two characters, there's going to be an attack percent goblet and an attack percent sands. That's just how that works out. We're going to show you that, guys, in a little bit here. And also, no matter what it is that you're using, attack percent goblet, energy recharge sands, whatever it is, it really is going to come down to the subsets. If you have a banging bomb god rolled, ER sands, or a banging god rolled, but you're not using Bennett or Kujo Sara, electro damage goblet, and they have super awesome good substats are more important. The decision between the two, they're like 5, 6, 7% damage increase or decrease. But if you're using a very terribly rolled substatted attack percent sands, you have a very well rolled ER sands, use the ER sands. The substat's gonna matter a whole lot more. You need that crit chance, you need that crit damage, you need all of the stats to make this greedy girl really work in Genshin Impact. And that's her number one downside, she's a greedy girl, which also is why there's just so much misinformation about her. Now, the other thing that I see a lot in the comments from the tier list video is that Favonius Lance should not be trashed here. It's so good on here. Favonius Lance is actually terrible. Look at this damage graph. Tell me this weapon is good. Why is it bad? It has a decent base attack, some of the highest of all 4-star polearms in the game, but all it gives you is 30% energy recharge. It's a stat that she does want, but compared to all the other spears in the game, this spear does a very little to increasing your damage. You don't really care about the extra particles generated. It's not really what she's there for. She already fills up your elemental skills for herself and your teammates, and she's gonna be built for a decent amount of energy recharge, enough to make sure that she's ready to go right when her cooldown for elemental burst is ready and active. You don't need this particle thing. Doesn't increase your DPS, doesn't really help you out as a team member. Base attack is okay, highest among all 4-star polearms, but 30% energy recharge is not going to beat out something like 32% attack if you have a big death match out there with that 36 or whatever it is percent crit rate. A lot of the other weapons have many more better attack boosting parts of their weapon than the Favonius Lance does. It is literally one of the worst weapons, bottom 3 for her in the game. You're looking at something that only is worse than this. It's like the Kitan Crossbeam, which was an EM weapon that like gives you energy back. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So let's showcase some of the differences between the sands, from ER sands, attack percent sands, goblets, all of that good stuff here. It's gonna be a little mathy. I'm gonna try to make it entertaining, be a little bit fun and spaz it up for you and get through it as quick as possible. And I'm gonna try to make it as visible as possible for you guys, but if you're on like a 3-inch phone, there's not a whole lot I can do to help you read text. If your phone's this big, you got your grandma's Nokia out, I can't help you. This is gonna be the R5 version of the catch. It's gonna be a free polearm you can get, and it's, as you saw in the bar chart, very powerful. So in this raw damage thing right now, 485,000 damage done in the duration of her ultimate there. Now, we are running attack percent sands, attack percent goblet. We're not running someone like Bennett. Why are we not running the ER sands? Look at this. So if you swap our sands from an attack percent sands to an energy recharge sands, 485,000 right now, swap that bad boy over to an energy recharge sands, 451. So we actually lost a pretty significant amount of damage. Now, if we do this, you're going to be able to fill up your team's gauge more often, a little bit extra energy for everyone involved. And if you're having a hard time keeping our elemental burst up, you're going to want to go ahead and do that. But we already had 217% elemental burst damage. So that is why you're running this stuff this way. You also want to run an attack percent sands and an attack percent goblet. Say we swap the goblet over to an element goblet where we already have 133% total damage bonus. This is also going to reduce our damage. 476. It's very close, but it's still slightly under. So for all these weapons like the catch that has some ER as a substat, the Star Glitter, the Favonius Lance, Keytane, if you're trying to run this worst weapon for some reason, you're always going to be running double attack percent sands there. That's just going to be the best. But look at the deathmatch here. So the deathmatch here is going to be running an element damage goblet at all times, with or without an attack buffer. Why is that? Well, it's because the deathmatch's base attack is very bad, the worst of all 4-star spears in the game. So running an attack percent goblet is kind of feeding into our weakness there. So if we swap it, we will go from this nice 473, almost on par with the catch R5, and we'll go down to 444, significantly worse. And if we're running an element damage goblet and we use something like Bennett or Kudrosara, it's going to be even more in our favor. We have super high crit rate, 97.9% crit rate, fantastic stats for the death match there. The same is going to be true for something like the Black Cliff. Proc the element damage goblet is always going to be best for this weapon. Now, the 5-star weapons are pretty easy to do here. So you have the Skyward Spine and the Jade Wing, as well as the Vortex. These all have pretty decent base attack, especially the Skyward Spine and the Jade Wing. Have 674 base attack at level 90. Attack percent sands is amazing on these. Like I said, I'm going to drill it into your heads unless you have an external attack buff like Bennett or like Kudrosara. Okay, do you have it now? Is it drilled in there, right? That's the one thing that everyone needs to realize. If you have one of those two characters, use an element goblet at all times, please. Now, with decent attack percent subset rolls, the Homa and the Vortex Vanquisher, especially the Vortex Vanquisher, because it gives you attack percent as a substat, and the Homa gives you a little bit of extra base attack. These ones really excel with a little bit of attack percent substat rolls and an elemental damage bonus goblet. So if you're looking for these two weapons, try to get some energy recharge substats, try to get a little bit of attack percent substats, and use that elemental damage goblet. That's gonna do wonders for you there. Here's the only weapon in Genshin Impact where you're going to run that energy recharge sands at all times. It's gonna be a boon on you for DPS and support options. You're gonna normally, like Baal, get bonus electro damage and energy regeneration for your team, but the new weapon is also going to be able to give you attack as well based off your energy recharge. So this is the Staff of Homa for this character. It is made for this character. It is very powerful for this character. So you're gonna be able to max out the Severed Fate bonus because you're building for energy recharge with that Sands. You're gonna get some extra electro damage, and then you're getting an extra attack on top of that. So you can see at 308% energy recharge with an R1 version of the Engulfing Lightning, we're going to be getting 552 extra attack from its own ability. And then on top of that, we're maxing out to the Severed Fate stacks. We have 83% electro damage. We're doing pretty good for ourselves here. So if you are not using Bennett or Cujo, energy recharge Sands, attack percent Goblet. Now, if you're using a buffer, you can see the difference here. Buffed R1, swap that Goblet over to an Element Goblet, and like an attack buff from Cujo Sara, 761,000. That is going to be phenomenal. Now, if we swap this over to an attack percent Goblet, we would lose damage. We would go down to 743. Is it a significant amount? No. Is it still a reduction? Yes. So now that you know everything there is to know about this character, get out there and start slaying. All right, this week I'm ready to do the showcase. Come back for that one as well.